Hi, everyone. In this special episode of the Simplify Your Retirement podcast, I wanted to share my recent interview with Kim Berwald. Kim is the founder of a company called Celebrating Personal Treasures, and she also happens to be a client of Wise Wealth. Celebrating Personal Treasures is about capturing people's life stories and preserving them for future generations. What she does fits right in with our mission of helping people be free to give, serve, and enjoy life because of the return on life impact that she helps create. So I hope you'll find this interview with Kim both inspiring and enlightening. Here it is.
Hello and welcome to the Simplify Your Retirement podcast with Steven Strickland. Hello, Steven.
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
Doing very well. Excited to be back in the studio again today.
Yes.
And I know we have a great guest coming up, but sometimes we spend a little bit of time kind of catching up, but today we want to dive right in. So who do you have for us today, Steven?
Well, I am excited to have with us in our studio today Kim Berwald. She is the owner and founder of Celebrating Personal Treasures. Thanks for being with us today, Kim.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here in the studio. And so, Kim, this season, we've been talking about different things. It's not always related to financial planning. It's not always related to the nuts and bolts or the techniques of financial planning. A lot of times, it is helping our clients be able to be free to give, serve, and enjoy life. It is really about, we kind of have a focus on not only just the return on investments, but a return on life. And so really what you do, I think this is so unique, so important. I thought it'd be great for our clients to hear from you, for our clients to understand what it is that you do. And Paul, this is about return on life. This is what we focus on a lot of times, adding value to our clients. And this is such a big part of it. We tell everybody when it comes to financial planning that you need to finish it. Okay. And what I mean by that is, we do the 3-bucket approach. We do the financial plan. You get your tax plan ready, get your estate plan ready, but then maybe pre-plan your funeral. Don't prepay it. Plan your funeral ahead of time. So these are all the things you can do so that you can go out during retirement and give, serve, and enjoy life. And one of these things is that you do is celebrating personal treasures. And this really comes down to what we call legacy planning, not just leaving the money behind for your heirs, but leaving a message behind. And so this is so unique. I don't know of anybody else in our area that does this the way that you do it. So you want to just tell us a little bit about celebrating personal treasures?
Yes, thank you. So many times what we do is when our loved one dies, we scramble and we write an obituary and we go through boxes and shoe boxes and files on phones and files on computers because we love them dearly. And after they're gone, we decide to celebrate their life huge. And they, depending on your beliefs, of course, they're either watching from above but they're not with us. And so we put together this lovely obituary, and we spend dollars and dollars and dollars publishing it in newspapers. And we decide, I want to put together a video. And so many funerals and visitations that you go to, there's some sort of visual. There's photos, which is great. And what we do that's a little different is we take those photos and tell a life story. So read an obituary, look at a pile of 50 photos or 100 photos or whatever, and put those photos into chapters and tell a life story and put some great music with it. And it's very emotional. So better that's at the end what we do, and really, if, like you say, if we can do our own video. So instead of me telling my mom or my dad, they're not here anymore, and all the people that are here watching this video, it's like, oh, we loved them that much, and what a treasure this video is. But if we put that together for them before they pass, when they're who knows, 60, 70, 80 to celebrate their life, then we already have it completed.
So the idea is that the person is creating the video themselves. I mean, this is the biggest difference. So most people go through life, they go to a funeral and someone else is creating a video talking about them, and getting all the pictures and creating some. So a lot of people do this, right? A lot of funeral homes will say, hey, well, let's put it, but you're saying, hey, let's tell your story before someone else is telling your story for you.
Right.
So you're trying to get people, maybe couples. You ever do couples together?
Usually if it's a couple together, someone in their life is celebrating their love story, their anniversary.
Yeah.
And so, and yes, we have done that, but then when they, usually they don't die within, sometimes they die within days of each other and we can do that, but no, typically then it's like, can you take this from my dad and this and this from my mom and separate? And we can't, because most everything that I do is archived. I keep
awesome.
it all. Mm-hmm.
So, but people they're coming to you and they're basically saying, hey, I want to tell a story. I want to share my story. Or is it someone else saying, I need you to call I want to do this for my dad. I want you to go and interview him and I want you to go get his story so we can have this for posterity. How does that work typically?
In the beginning, I came up with a little workbook called What It Means to Be Me, thinking that people like us would want to interview our parents and get their story in this workbook. Yeah. But I did not find that to be the case. Typically, people want their parents' story, but they really don't want to take the time to sit with their parents and extract that information. Or there's dynamics with their parents. Not everyone has this relationship with their parents where their parents want to talk to them and really give that information. So I found that people would hire me to go to their parents and interview them, help them gather their photos, help them gather their video clips, and we'd have audio. There, in case you don't know, there's an audio recorder on your phone. It's an app, and you can sit around the Thanksgiving table and talk to your parents sometimes. Because really, what do people like to talk about?
Right, themselves. Yeah, that's right. So very interesting. So people will sometimes people will do this. Hey, I want you to get the story of my dad. I want you to get the story of my mom, my grandparents, whatever the case may be. Okay. And then, so this is not necessarily only about celebration of life. In other words, this is not just
those
at
are
a
two
funeral.
Different things. That's
two different
correct.
things.
Correct.
Okay, because most people think of, okay, this is a celebration of life, and we're going to do this for the funeral. You're not doing this for people's funerals per se. You will do that, but you're doing this more for, this is their 80th birthday or whatever. What are some circumstances that people say, now's the time I want to get the story? What's a party or what's a reason someone wants to do this?
So there's the working for the funeral homes and people who've lost a loved one. Yeah. We do that piece of it. So then when someone's still living, sometimes people will say, can you talk to my dad? He was a veteran, and so that's where some people can just talk about themselves if you ask them questions. Right. Some people need something to help them talk. Something, a memory, a piece. So we also do something to help people. We say, let's get a trunk or a suitcase and let's pick 10 or 20 of your keepsakes. Okay. A few photos, maybe a baseball glove, maybe whatever. Let's go look in your workshop, a tool. So then we have this box or this trunk that we fill with their keepsakes, and we pick one up, and they can hold the old baseball glove. Actually, I have an old.
And talk about. Did you bring one? Hey, that's awesome. Okay.
And then they can.
Very cool. Wow, that is an old one.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. So they can smell it, and talk about their baseball days. And so if you can think of your grandparent and going in their attic or their garage and finding a box or a trunk or a suitcase, and you open it up and there's 10 or 15 things that mattered to them and some stories about those things. How cool would that be?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Very, very cool.
Kind of gives me chills.
Get it.
Yeah.
I
if we
love
could
that.
Start that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
get them talking.
That's just an idea of something that I would like to spread so that everybody, you know, talk to your parents or your grandparents and find some things that matter to them. And even if you just get a spiral notebook and write stories about it and then stick it on a shelf somewhere and 3 or 4 generations down, you know, they'll.
Now, are you finding people that are receptive to this? In other words, let's say that a son said, hey, I want to do this. I want you to talk to my mom, and here's a trunk full of things. I want her to talk about it. That their mom is like, yes, I will talk to you about this.
So the best time to do that is when we are downsizing our parents. They're moving into some kind of retirement community and everything. Yeah. So let's find a recipe. Let's, you know, not the whole recipe box, but just something to spark your mom's memory, or your grandma's memory, let's say, of the days that she made whatever for Thanksgiving and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that would be really cool.
That's just an idea for people to do. Engaging your parents or grandparents.
Yeah, when people are creating these stories and you're creating these videos for them to give their families, that we're talking, is just like a movie? Is it 2 hours? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 20 minutes? 15? How long is it normally? Like when you're creating one of these things, how long?
So back to the videos.
Yes.
Just doing the videos.
Yep.
For a funeral.
Okay.
We've done them at as short as 50 photos. 100 photos, and that's 6 to 10 minutes, and that's pretty good if you're going to sit and watch through it. But there are people who use 1,000 pictures because they want them all, and then you have a 30-minute little.
Yeah, it tells the whole story, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So somewhere, I try not to go over 30, 35 minutes. I try to recommend that.
Right, gotcha. Yeah. And then when did you start this business?
About 22 years ago.
No way. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah. So I have a friend who's
You've collected a few stories over the years. Boy, unbelievable.
I've done a lot of those. Yeah. It doesn't feel like work to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good. You like getting people's stories and learning about people and
It's a service that not many people do it. It's kind of like can I clean my own house? Yes. Can I buy and sell my own investments? But when you have somebody do it for you, it's a different level. It's done
professionally done and well done. And you coach people then on wear this, you know what I mean, let's set it up. Do you kind of set it up in their house? You normally go to someone's house and do this, or how do you bring them into a studio?
I have done it.
Okay.
And people are usually more comfortable in their own homes. Older folks are. And so I've gone into their home and we've audio, video, both kind of like this.
That's awesome. And so I was like, so you started this, you've been doing this for over 20 years. Was there a reason that you started this? Why did you start this business? Did you see something or know something, or what made you start this business?
So my son had a friend. They both went to Lee Summit North, and his friend was killed on a motorcycle in a motorcycle accident. Okay. And we just, all we could do was find a PowerPoint, just PowerPoint, and put pictures into PowerPoint. And it just didn't do his life justice.
Okay.
And so I just thought, you know what, I think I would really enjoy just really drilling into telling people's life stories, either after they passed away, and then it went. I learned that it's like, gosh, why do we wait?
Yeah.
Why do we wait until after our loved ones are gone?
Okay.
If we can celebrate their lives while they're here, and they can feel honored too.
Absolutely. That's really cool. So as far as people doing this, do you find that people that are, what's the youngest person you've ever done this for? Like, as far as a person who's living, they want to tell their story, they want to get it out there. Is it normally someone who's older that's saying, okay, before I move on, I want to get this story out here. I want people to know this or that about me or about our life or our family. Or is it any age, or are you finding people that are mostly like older that are wanting to do this?
When you graduate from high school, we celebrate that. Seems like we celebrate a high school graduation bigger than we celebrate a college graduation.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
it does seem like that. It's like,
so I do some high school graduation videos, life story videos. And so that's 18 years. Doesn't matter if you're 5 or if you're 18 or 30 or 60. It's hard to go through all your photos and all your video clips and pare it down and pick to tell a story. But typically it's older people who who have wisdom and life experiences that have all of their information, want all their information put into some organized format.
Yeah. That's really cool. So then you talk about, storytelling. It's pretty much what you do. Your storytelling, you gather people's stories and make sure they can share those with whoever they want to see this or know this. That's really cool. And so if somebody is wanting to tell their story, you'll go in. Is this a series of interviews? Is it one interview? Is it you're coming in there, gathering all the pictures, having an interview, and then coming back to them later, and here's the package? Or how does this work?
So it sort of ties into your legacy chapter.
Yes.
I think, is that chapter 10?
I think it may be chapter 10. We'll have to go back and look. That's good.
10, yeah.
Simplify your retirement. Make sure. Thank you all. We'll take this minute here to plug the book here. But obviously, we have a good book, Simplify Your Retirement. And so you can get a copy of the book by going to wisewealth.com. But thank you, Kim.
There you go.
Yes.
So that legacy piece, it's part of leaving a legacy for your loved ones. If you want to share your life story, share your knowledge, share your wisdom, photos, stories.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to go about it. You can do a lot of the work on your own. We can come talk to you and help you get started. We can hold workshops if you have friends.
Okay.
There's just a lot of ways to go about it. Really, not a right or a wrong.
Okay.
Sometimes you think, gosh, no one would care about that, but really, our kids and our grandkids do care about.
Absolutely.
I mean, I care about to read how my grandpa learned to ride a bike.
Yeah.
That'd
Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah.
And so, I know even like, for example, my parents, my dad grew up on a farm in Oklahoma, right? So, he wasn't a farmer when I was growing up, but all those stories, I know that we'll never remember those stories. He knows them all, but it'd be great to get him on a video, have him tell all these stories so we can remember them. Right. Like you said, if my mom has some certain recipes and how she makes things, it'd be great to have that, here's what we do. And, here's how we make this. Here's why we do this, our family traditions. So Paul, we talk about in the course, Simplify Your Retirement. We always end that course with, you want to leave we're very careful to make sure everyone leaves the money behind to who they want to leave it behind to and to where they want it to go. And you do that through beneficiary designations. You do that by having a contract, a beneficiary designation that's correct, or a transfer on death and these kinds of things. But we also emphasize, don't just leave the money behind. Also leave a message. You know what I mean? In other words, you can give your kids, here's my IRA, here's my 401k, here's my life insurance proceeds. You can have all these things, but what do you really want them to know? And this is really what, Kim does. So it's perfect. So in other words, we look at it and we say, are there any life lessons? Is there any tradition of faith that you want your kids to know? Here's the money, but I also want you to know this is what our family believes. Here's a story that you don't know about your grandparents, how we got here. All those kinds of things I think are extremely valuable. And I would just think that over time, what may become more valuable to people is not the money. It's this story.
Right. So if you have the baseball glove and 2 handwritten pages of what your grandpa, when he started playing baseball, I mean that's something you can hold. And okay, here's the next level of this. For people who develop some kind of dementia or Alzheimer's,
right.
if they have this box or this trunk or this suitcase with 10, 15 items in it, and their stories that have been documented by either themselves or us who ask them about their stories, and we write them or put them into a book. We can do a published book. We can do a hard copy book, whatever. But then we can read these stories back to them. About their life,
that's awesome.
And share these stories back with them about their life, and they can hold their baseball glove and whatever else. Yeah. So that's kind of another level of it, because when we lose all our memories and we can share those same memories with them, it's like they love that.
Absolutely. I can totally see that. And then them hearing their own story in their own words and remembering these things. I think, like you said, I think that most people, we do a good job planning everything else. I think that our kids will appreciate it. Even if we don't know if they will, it'd be great to get on there. And that's why I love, what you do.
It's different.
Absolutely. Sure. It is different. But I think it's extremely important for people to tell their story. I think that maybe some people feel like their story is not interesting or no one's going to care, but they will. I think what a lot of times that's why people like when, sadly, when they go to a celebration of life, it's like, oh, they like to see the story of this person, all these pictures.
And the old pictures. It's or
and
I
knew
him then, but I didn't. I knew him in this chapter of their life, not this chapter of life.
And we tell our clients, Paul, to get in front of a camera. What do we say? And you can have Kim help you do this, get in front of a camera and tell this story, because that will be valuable to them. Even if you think that it is, if you don't think that it is, or your grandkids will want to see that. I think there's something too about, I know a lot of people, and you'll help people do this, actually write a story or write a book about their life, but it's something about hearing them and seeing them say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people just aren't comfortable in front of a camera. They're okay with just their voice.
Yes.
And so to have their right. That's what I'm saying. Even if you use your phone and the audio, just to be able to hear your dad or your grandpa after they're gone, to have their voice still, and we can incorporate those. Like sometimes in a life celebration video, we'll incorporate just a voicemail. Hi, it's Mom.
Whoa.
Sorry I can't talk to you today, but I love you, and you have that forever.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's really good. It's interesting that you say that, because even as my parents get older, it's like if you look at my phone, so I literally delete every voicemail that I get, except when my parents leave me a voicemail. I've noticed that I've been saving those voicemails, saving them. I mean, even if it's just like nothing, but just to have them. It's funny that you say that. So I've been doing that.
So that goes into the QR code.
Yes, let's talk about the QR code.
Whatever's digital, we can attach a QR code to it, and QR codes on tombstones are kind of an up-and-coming...
QR codes on tombstones. I had never heard of this until today.
Wow.
So here we go. You're breaking news right here from Kim.
So we can put a life celebration video, which for my own mom, I included her voicemail at the end. And so if you listen long enough...
Wow.
So if you listen long enough...
You'll end up with her.
Then you can hear her voice.
That's amazing. So people now are putting these on a tombstone, like a part of the granite, or is it just something that gets attached to it?
A part of the granite is an option, but many times people are like... I didn't think of it then. So we have a titanium piece that actually...
You can add to it later. And so then technically anybody... I could go to, if I was in a cemetery and I saw someone's QR code, if I were just interested in what is their life about, I could hit that and tell their story. It'll only be pictures or very interesting. I could see that being big. I mean,
wouldn't it be cool if if we could watch a story or...
Well, everyone has a story. It's like you don't know anything about them. So you go to sometimes you go to these old, especially these historical ones. If you can go there and find out about them, see some pictures. Yeah. Amazing. Very interesting. So I like that idea. So that's something you can do, the QR code for, Tombstone. Then you do story writing. You'll help people, I guess, write their story in a little booklet if they want to do that too. And okay. What else do you guys do?
We tell stories through videos, websites. If there's a small business who wants their story told on a website, we can build a website for them.
Okay.
So we do some website
So a website would be for someone who... That's kind of what they're going to leave behind. I mean, this is about the person, like a personal website.
That's more for a business, just a small business that wants a new website built. We built some websites sharing their story or why they're doing what they're doing.
Very cool.
Just like your website tells your story and your services.
And yours, which is, by the way, celebratingpersonaltreasures.com. Celebratingpersonaltreasures.com. Because your story matters. So did you do some stuff on social media?
We do some social media.
So you'll put stuff out on people's social media. I guess help them. Here's your story. Put it out there and that kind of stuff. Okay. I think this is great. To us, it's so important to plan ahead. To finish the job, as I said at the beginning of the podcast. To get everything in order. And then it would be great to just, I think for everybody, to sit down and tell the story of your life or what you would want people to know after you're gone. You can either record it and then say, here later, all of you guys can watch this, or here I'm sending this out to all my grandkids this year. You know what I mean? Here's the story of how me and Grandpa got together, or whatever the case may be. So who really should be contacting you that has not contacted you yet?
So when you think about your life, and if you think about when you're gone, if you haven't organized your photos and your keepsakes, then your loved ones are going to put together what they think about you, and it's going to be their message to you, and you're not going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
We love you, Mom. We love you, Grandma. We'll treasure our memories forever.
Yeah.
And they're going to write your obituary, and they're going to do everything for you. Or you can write your own obituary, which you can decide whether you're going to be cremated or whether you're going to be buried. You can plan all that, just like you said. When you put together your own video, it's your message to your family. And it's the photos and the videos that you like about yourself.
Right.
Not the ones in the when you were 20 pounds overweight where somebody's like, because memories are tied to photos.
Absolutely.
Right? And videos.
Yeah. Yep.
So for me, my chapters would be growing up. I would bookend it. It would be me growing up. It would be me in the current chapter of my life, the last 30 years of my life.
Yep.
And then I would have a chapter with my children so that and I would pick music. So my 3 kids, and then I would have a chapter with my grandchildren. And then I would have a chapter about my career because I love my business and the things that I love. So that's sort of how you set up your own video, pick out 12, 15 pictures of you when you were growing up, 12, 15 pictures of you, and that's how we book in it. And then in the middle, those are the chapters of your life.
Again, I'm sitting here, Paul, thinking about my parents, you know what I mean? And this would be a great time to do this for them. I think about your parents, and maybe you're thinking about, hey, you wish you had done this, you know what I mean, before some people get older and they're not going to be able to do it. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people don't like to talk about this because it's just like the topic of life insurance. They think, well, that means I'm going to die. A lot of people don't like to wrestle with their own mortality, but it is the most loving thing we can do. Because when someone has to go through the grief process anyway, but now they have to go through all these details of trying to collect all these things and trying to tell the story and trying to honor mom or dad in such a way that does bring them honor. When we can take that off of them, it is. It is a gift that we give them, and it allows them to be able to focus on what's important at that time rather than all the details.
Yeah. And I would just encourage people to this is something that they should do before someone ends up being in a nursing home, before they have dementia, before they start losing their memories and that kind of stuff, to be able to get these stories down. So how can people get a hold of you? CelebratingPersonalTreasures.com, probably the best place to go. Your contact info is on there, and obviously you can help people anywhere. I know we're in Lee Summit. You're local to us here in the Kansas City area, but we have people watch the podcast from all over the country. I mean, anybody can really contact you, and you can help them.
So the best way to get your parents or your grandparents to do something like this would be to say, I'm going to give this to you for Father's Day or Mother's Day or Christmas, and I want you to work on it for the next 6 or 8 months.
Yeah.
And then we're going to submit all the photos and the stories and the video clips to Celebrating Personal Treasures, and then they're going to put something together, and then we're going to give it back to you next. You're going to give it back to us. We're going to give it to you, then you're going to give it back to us next Mother's Day or next Father's Day or next Christmas. So a gift that takes some time to put together, and
really cool.
It's would be a unique gift to give to your parents or grandparents.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, thank you for being here in the studio with us today, live with Kim with Celebrating Personal Treasures. And thank you guys for listening to the podcast today.
Even though this is not financial in nature, right? It takes planning. And that's really what we're all about here. And that's what this podcast is about. That's what all of this is about, is understanding what's out there so that we can plan and be intentional with what we're going to do rather than reactionary. And so whether it's planning for our retirement or planning the legacy piece of it. And so that's why legacy is a piece of the plan that we have. Our plans include 7 areas, and legacy is one of them for a reason, because this is something that people do have to plan. And so we appreciate you being on here. Appreciate you, Stephen, having Kim here. And again, we'll have a link to your website in the show notes, so you can click on that and follow up on that. But if you, as watching this, saying, I need to plan, just in general, whether it's retirement planning, legacy planning, life planning, telling your story, whatever it is, reach out to us. We're here for you. It just simply starts with a conversation, and we'll help guide that process for you. So reach out to us at info@wisewealth.com. You can also email us and request a copy of Stephen's book, and there is a chapter on legacy, and we'll confirm which one that is, but I think you said chapter 10. But email us, and we would be glad to send you that book and be able to help start that process of planning. So, again, thank you, Kim. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate you being here. And, of course, our last thank you goes to you, our listening audience. You're the reason we're here, and you're the reason we do this. So without you, we wouldn't be there. Click like, click subscribe so that you'll see when the next podcast comes out. Share this with those that you know. Share this with those that you love, so that they can do something loving and be able to tell their story as well. So thank you from all of us here at Wise Wealth. This is Paul reminding you that financial peace comes from having a plan, and we'll see you next time.